This specific clarified butter doesn't go bad for another 185 years. Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Robin Zander, and today I'm going to walk you through my emergency preparedness. I spent a lot of time in my childhood in the mountains, and I always have an emergency bag nearby. One of my fundamentals is parachute cord. This is literally the cord that is used when you have a parachute. A single strand of this is good for 500 pounds, more than that. So if I'm strapping something to the roof of a car, if I'm needing to bind a broken bone in the wilderness, this stuff is good across the board. I also have much heftier rope. Sometimes paracord is so thin, it's useful to be able to do anything that you might need to do with rope. Something unexpected that I keep in my go bag is sunshade. Very light, white or blue. This is actually from Morocco, so it also has sentimental value. Something that you can wear over your arms, something that you can wear over your head as a hat if you don't have a hat. It's very useful for sun protection, and it can be used to bind a wound. A smaller version of the same is a bandana. I think that keeping a bandana nearby most of the time makes a lot of sense. You can wear it as a hat, you can use it to put water on your face, you can use it to bind a wound if you need to, but having little bits of cloth nearby is always useful. I've lately also been keeping canvas bags nearby. Grocery store bags, sure, but you never know when you might need to put something into a bag, and so I keep one in my car, I keep one in my shoulder bag, I keep one in my go kit. Having a canvas bag nearby never hurts. Something that I rarely use when I'm in a city, but always keep nearby, is a water bladder. Two things that you need in any situation that might necessitate survival is water and something to drink water out of. And when you're in a hurry, in times of stress, there's no better way to keep yourself fueled with water than drinking out of a bladder. I also always keep a life straw nearby. I keep one in my car and I keep one in my go bag. This is something that if things went to hell and you needed to have water, you can put this in any lake or pond and generally drink clean water. If there is one tactic that I would give everybody for building an emergency kit, it would be keep a week or two of water available for you and for your loved ones, for everyone living in your home, in the home at all times. Having plenty of electrolytes, and particularly salt, is really useful. I love Maldon salt. Personally, I love the flakiness of it, I love how it tastes, and I will at times take a little pinch of salt and just eat it. Electrolytes and having salt is really important. Salt for eating, salt for sprinkling on food, and just electrolyte pills. Makes a world of difference. You can survive for many weeks without food. You cannot survive for very many weeks without water and without electrolytes. I mentioned salt. I also really like pepper. And particularly, I like the sensation of grinding my own pepper. I love Trader Joe's sponges. They remind me of being a kid with those little dinosaur sponges that you put in water and they expand. But also, in any situation, sponges are useful. So I keep a sponge in a plastic bag in every emergency kit, and I keep a whole pack of Trader Joe's sponges in my emergency kit as well. I also keep a scrubby, because even in times of stress, even in times of emergency, having the ability to reach for something that can very efficiently clean a surface, clean skin, etc. is so helpful. This is a slingshot, and I keep it for two reasons. The first is because you never know when you might need to throw something at a target at high speeds, whether that's something that you're trying to kill, like a chipmunk because you need to eat it, or somebody who's out to get you and you want to deter them. These are my pots and pans. I use these when I'm backpacking in the wilderness, and I also keep them stored in my go kit. They're light, they're easy, they fold upon one another. You've essentially got two pots and two pans. Simple, easy, and necessary if you need to boil water. Flashlights are useful in all sorts of different circumstances, but for very different reasons. So this headlamp I use very regularly when I'm running in the woods after dark. This one I don't really use unless the power goes off in the civilized world, or I'm camping and trying to do a big cooking something on a table or in the wilderness somewhere. I like this one because it's self-charging. You squeeze it, You turn it on and it works. This one doubles as a solar charger. You can charge your phone from it, a radio, and a flashlight. You can also wind it just by spinning the crank. Being able to rely on a light source when you need it, especially in a time of emergency, and reach anywhere for a flashlight that will suit your purposes is so important. I always keep a buck knife. This is originally designed for hunting and skinning animals, thus buck knife. It also reminds me of a very sweet time when I was growing up in the wilderness and I had a camp counselor who had a knife like this and I was really envious. For the fun of it, I keep throwing knives. I bought these for myself when I was 7 or 8 at a farmer's market. I learned to throw them. I haven't thrown them in years. Finally, perhaps my most important overall tool is the Leatherman Wave. I've had this for years. I've bought it for other people. It has about 16 tools as a multi-purpose Swiss Army type knife. I keep it nearby at all times. Another multi-purpose tool, it's cheap. I keep one in my Go Kit, I keep one in my car, and I keep several in my kitchen, is scissors. Scissors are so useful, and particularly in a time of emergency where you need to cut off clothing or you need to harvest vegetables, and maybe you're stressed and you don't want to do so with a straight edge, having the safety of scissors matters. Something that we always need nearby is fire. I keep a pack of matches, large pack of matches, in my Go Kit, and I keep a stack of lighters. Not just a single lighter, in part because a single lighter is hard to find in a larger kit, but also at any time if I need to light a stove, I can pull one out. If I need to put one in my car, I can pull one out, and I've still got a set of lighters that I can rely on anytime. And if something were to go wrong, or I need to give away a bunch of matches to somebody in some sort of emergency situation, I've got lots of matches to pull on. Of course, talking about matches means that we are also talking about cooking and stoves. I keep a full operational stove in my Go Kit. It's relatively cheap, it's under $100. It can be stored anywhere. And when the power goes out wherever I'm living, I always know that I can continue to cook for myself. Gas canisters for the stove. As a secondary backup stove, I have this little whisper light, which does go with the white gas. So if something were to happen with that one, or somebody else were needed to cook simultaneously, we have 2 sources of fuel and fire at any time. To go with the stove, I always have camping fuel, I always have cooking fuel, and then I also always keep a fuel bottle that's empty in case I need to move some to something else, in case I need a container that is just very robust for whatever purpose. One tool that I keep in my go bag that oftentimes people find unexpected are zip ties. And I keep several different sizes. So there's 3 sizes in here, and there's yet smaller ones here. Being able to hold pieces of gear that have broken together, being able to repair a piece within a car or a backpack or a piece of clothing. There's so many purposes. They're light and they're efficient to travel. Have plenty of zip ties nearby. You can always store things within things. So this is duct tape, and within the duct tape are metal pellets for the slingshot. I keep several different sets of emergency blankets within my Go Kit. And I like these not just because they're useful for warmth, though they are, but because they're good ground covers, because they're good rain covers. You can use them not just as the single thing that you warm yourself up with and you only have one, but as a simple way to cover up when that needs to be done. Of course, sunscreen. It's important to have sun covers, but also having sunscreen nearby. I keep several different types of tape. We've looked at duct tape. You should always have duct tape nearby. But I also really like athletic tape. It's how I personally will make my own homemade Band-Aid. So if I have a small cut, I will put Neosporin, I will clean the cut, and then I'll put a bandage on it, and then I will put a piece of tape on it to hold it. Here's something that most people don't expect in a Go Kit. Whether I'm in the city or in the wilderness, no matter what's going on, I keep earplugs nearby. And I keep a full pack, not just a set of 2 or 4. I will, every couple of times a year, find myself in a situation that is unexpectedly loud. And being able to pull out my Go Kit, put in earplugs, and go to sleep, sleep matters. In the vein of sleep, this is a sleeping pad. Partially inflatable, though it doesn't have to be inflatable for it to be useful. Waterproof from the ground. Having something nearby that you can inflate and sleep on and have a good night's sleep matters. And I would say between a sleeping bag and a sleeping pad, I can use a lot of things for a sleeping bag, but a pad against the coolness of the earth is really important. I mentioned making my own Band-Aids, but I also keep Band-Aids, not actually for myself, but usually for kids in my life who wouldn't want a homemade bandage. I forgot, there's yet another emergency blanket. So we have 3 separate sets of emergency blankets in one Go kit. Here's something that I learned in my wilderness first response training. Having absorbent material for wound care is really important, and there are very few things more effective than pads. So of course, for the women in my life, but also in the situation of an intense bleeding, being able to pull out a pad, slap it on a wound, tape it up, and make sure that the bleeding is subsiding. In terms of wound care, but also in terms of fire preparedness, I keep toilet paper, we'll get to that, little cotton balls. Cotton balls are great for starting fires. You dip them in Neosporin, you dip them in kind of a variety of potentially flammable liquid and light them on fire, and that then can become the start of starting a much bigger fire very, very quickly. And always keeping a full roll of toilet paper anywhere that you might need it, keeping backups in your house, keeping backups in your car, and definitely keeping backups in your emergency kit. Water preparation. This is a smart water filtration kit, but any sub $100, $200 water filtration kit that you can put in a stream or a pond or a bathtub, pump, and create clean, potable water. It's important to have things in your emergency kit that you enjoy. I really like Tulsi tea, and in a time of stress, Tulsi is for me a soothing thing that I can drink. And so having that available, having that readily available in my Go kit at any time matters. I'm on day 5 of fasting, and to hold food that I like as comfort food and sweets is really difficult right now. I love cheap, awful Nestle hot chocolate. And so always in my Go bag, I will have a few containers of Nestle hot chocolate. Oh my God, my belly hurts. In a plastic bag in the Go kit. You tear it open, you pour it in water, hot or cold. It gives you that little bit of blood sugar kick that you need to keep going. And that brings me to one aspect of a Go kit, which I don't think is talked about enough, which is making it customized for you and your loved ones and the people that you might be caring for. Whether that is having brightly colored Band-Aids for the kids in your life or food that you and your loved ones want to eat, creating a Go kit that brings you joy, that you are excited to open because you remember, oh, I got this when I was in Morocco, or oh, that reminds me of learning to be a wilderness explorer when I was 13. Having those mental and emotional associations makes the entirety of the experience more pleasurable. I love opening my Go box. I love showing it off to people because it brings me joy. I used to get a lot of belly pain, and so for a long time I've kept Pepto Bismol in my Go kit. I really like the playful relightable candles, the candles that don't go out. Because when you're building a fire or trying to get fire going in a difficult circumstance, being able to light one of these and know that you can just stick it in the ground and it's gonna keep going while you build a fire around it, that matters, that helps. Some basic foodstuffs that I keep around. I always like cooking with ghee, with clarified butter. And according to Trader Joe's, this specific clarified butter doesn't go bad for another 185 years. Back to comfort food, I keep Justin's maple almond butter and jelly available at any time. I could subsist off of these crackers, almond butter, and jelly for days. And I would do so happily, I would do so with joy. So having a few basic staples that you would like to eat as a special food for you in your Go kit, for you and your loved ones, is a really great solution. Another unique solution that I have for myself is the plug for a bathtub. I love taking baths, and I will take a bath anywhere in the world any chance I get, but something I've found in traveling is that a lot of baths don't have a bath plug. And so I keep one in my Go Kit, knowing that I could pull it out at any time and use it to take a bath. Fortunately, I've never need to use these except when I am operating a chainsaw, but having eye protection, both sunglasses and clear glasses, makes a world of difference. You don't need it unless you need it, but in a situation where stuff is flying through the air, being able to put on protective glasses may just save your life. This is a chainsaw. There's a saw on my Leatherman, but having something that you can use to cut wood in an emergency can make a big difference. I keep a couple of wilderness survival guides nearby at any time. So wilderness and travel medicine and back wilderness medical advice. Being able to reference it, having it available in case I need to reference it. Finally, we have my toiletries kit. I keep a lot of things in here that are one-offs that I might need in the future. Soap, toothbrush, mouthwash, toothpaste, a comb, melatonin, clippers, and additional earplugs. At the very bottom of my emergency kit, I keep several industrial strength large plastic bags. These are great for ground cloth. These can make a rain cover. You cut a hole, you put your head through, and you've got a rain shelter. And that is the bottom of my Go Kit. There are so many items in here that are specific to me that I find joy from. And there are also a lot of things here that are designed for other people. So building a Go Kit that is unique and specific to you, or buying a standard Go Kit and adding components that you think will be helpful to you, makes a world of difference. I try to go through my Go Kit at least every 3 or 4 months and say what here needs to be replaced, what here might I reevaluate, what about my life has changed that I want to add to this or subtract from this, but keeping track on a regular basis of what is in here. One way I keep track of what's in my Go Kit is storing things in here that I might use in my daily life. So, almond peanut butter. I will turn to my Go Kit when I want almond peanut butter, open this one, and put a new one in the Go Kit. There's a philosophy in professional kitchens that I learned at Robin's Cafe called FIFO, first in, first out. And the same is true of your Go Kit. When I'm putting a battery-powered flashlight in the Go Kit, it is also something that I am going to cycle out to make sure that the batteries stay fresh. When I'm putting jelly in my Go Kit, that will also be the next jelly that I use in my refrigerator, and I will replace it at the same moment so that the jelly stays fresh. I refresh items in my Go Kit every 3 to 12 months based on what the items are, but I try to at least unpack it and repack it a couple of times a year to make sure that items stay fresh.